So we here with another one. Yeah, man. I was remembering back in the day I used to listen to this song what Boo said, "Don't nobody understand me, man. I want my candy, man." And the the title of the song was "I've been going through some things." And he went down how he'd had issues with his family, his friends, his girl, his baby mama, just like back to back, back to back issues, things going on, which, some people can't control. And it starts to develop the people around you, you know, form a like a hateful spirit towards you or some jealousy, or sometimes they just actually change, you know. Most people don't remain the same. Most people don't remain loyal. Over time, you have other people coming in and out your life. You have other situations that you're dealing with, and it ultimately shapes you. Even though you don't want that to be done to you, most of the time, you're forced. Take for instance, me growing up, I was forced to act older than what I was because, I lost my parents at a young age. And so ultimately, some issues, pertaining to me where I got into a situation where, I had to, grow up sometime more than what I really wanted to be because of the situation at hand. It led me to kind of rambling a little bit because in traffic, but I was forced. My hand was forced, and some people, they have that point where their hand is forced, where they have no other option. You know, especially with dealing with family and stuff like that. Sometimes they tell you have to be the bigger person and let things go, let bygones be bygones sometimes, and it causes conflict. You know, the biggest thing about growing in this type of environment to where conflicts and all that arose because of family and friends, you kind of grow. Like when you're young, you have your cousins that you always go to see, you have fun with everything. And as time go on, you get older. It's not the same cousin as you remember, laughing and joking and playing. They're more serious. They have stuff going on. You know, they might have been a little older than you, so they're going to college while you're still in, elementary or about to go to middle. I mean, about to go to high school. Like if you're in middle school, about to go to high school, but, they're going to college next year. They graduate, so the mindset has changed. They don't walk to the same beat as they used to. So now it's almost like you're on an island by yourself, and you're looking at them as changing as a bad thing, you know, or you have kids that want to always go and play and have fun, but then those adults be like, "Nah, it's time to get serious." What happened to the fun parent? You know, so it's like you get to going through some things, and like the song say, don't nobody understand you. You know, and sometimes it could be the outside looking in and vice versa, when it comes to situations. So, and the reason I put um pain in the description, because it do give you a level of pain, to the extent like nobody's there for you. You have no friends, you have no one you can count on, and situations get harder and harder with no recourse. And it comes to a point where, you got to grow up. You got to stop feeling like, you're the victim and, you're always putting yourself in this situation or someone always is, making you feel bad or worse than it is. And, you know, it's always a mentality of pointing the finger. So sometimes you got to actually do what people say, actually grow up. Some people don't know how to check themselves. When it comes to a situation where you're to the point where I say you're almost wrong all the time, it ultimately comes to a point where you have to check yourself. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Make sure where the whole it's not you, it's me deal to the point where have I been a loyal friend or have I been there for my family like I should have been? You know, the relationships I've been in, did I force those relationships or they were just organic, you know, you know, so forth and so forth. Oh, I'm looking down and even looking at chat. Shout out to the people that's coming in. When it comes down to it, you'll have situations in your life and, ultimately you got to question yourself and to kind of, figure out what's going on, you know, and people always have these vibes, have these, situations to where, you know, am I the bad person or these people are just doing what they want to do? You might have a situation with a family member that you're constantly fighting with this family member because, you know, they don't want to, I guess, conform to what we can say conform. They don't want to conform to basically what you're trying to say about, living life. They want to live in the moment. They want to remember all the good things they had, and it goes back to one of the situations with my grandmother when she passed and she was in a nursing home and she always told me to, remember me for all the good. If you don't want to come to my funeral, don't come because I want you to remember me when I was always happy and not feeling bad, up here in the doctor with tubes in it. And, I kind of nodded and said, okay. And that's to an extent, that's what some people are still trying to get that moment to where they want to stay in their happy place and, judge people for changing. But growth and change is a part of life. And nobody wants to go through the change because it's almost like they're forgetting where they're coming from, in most cases. If you're always a happy individual as a child, you tend to lessen as an adult because you start realizing that life isn't so happy. You know, you got chores, you gotta pay bills, and some people they kind of work with it and work around it to where it kind of benefit them still. But others, they don't want to be grown. They want to go back to being kids because when they were kids, they were happy. All they did was play. When you become an adult, you know, work, everything else takes over your time. Even people who are raising kids, they only have a limited time to actually spend time with the kids, mold the kids, and majority of the time they're making time for that because you're working, you're trying to do side hustles or start a business. There's a lot of stuff as an adult can get in the way. So be that as it may, when you're going through your situations, you're gonna have to have people there in your corner helping you. And sometimes it's always good to have a friend or a good family member to kind of back you, kind of right you wrong, tell you when you're doing something wrong. Tell you when you're getting a big head, you're starting to go above and beyond. And like with the whole shaming, a lot of people don't like that. If I mess up, let me mess up and rock me like a baby in the cradle. Don't sit there and bring it heavy to me. I don't want that. I want the the baby, be gentle with me. Don't tell me that I shouldn't have wrecked the car while I was on the phone, or don't tell me about me, drinking and having issues. That's what I'm dealing with. I don't need nobody to throw that in my face. But the point of it is, if nobody throws it in your face, how can you change from it? See, it's a lot of people just want to be cuddled in life and don't want nothing, kind of point out their negative flaws or issues that they have. And that's the craziness that we're going through now. The whole thing with guys I hear in this space always talking about bringing shaming back. Shaming is a good thing, but to an extent, you know, it helps people because you have to be accountable. You know you're going to get in trouble for your actions or saying the wrong thing, and for you to be shamed for your actions, it kind of makes you step up and play the part. Like, okay, I'm not the victim. But when it comes down to it, a lot of people don't want, you know, to carry that burden of being wrong. A lot of people don't want to carry that burden of issues at hand. And I'm like, what society are we living in when you're grown and there's issues at hand? You got to deal with them head on. You know, let's say you have a issue about paying a ticket. You don't got to deal with it head on right now. Put it to the side. Let it sit there, over time. When that expiration runs out on the time of you dealing with the ticket, then you got to go to court. Just say you say, I don't want to go to court. I'm just not going to go. That issue is still there. It's lingering. So now you got a warrant out for your arrest. Let's say you're not at home or you're moving around. That happened to me one time. I actually um, got a ticket in the MARTA station. It was crazy. It's transit for people that don't know what MARTA is in Atlanta. And me and my friend was riding through there, and the guy actually said I ran the stop sign because me and the bus got there at the same time, and I turned right, the bus went straight. He said that I didn't yield to give the bus enough time to do what it's gonna do. I was like, if the bus is going straight and I'm turning right, the bus is going straight. There's no reason for the issue, like he's saying I'm not yelling or whatever, it was just something to do. I guess he was bored. He was sitting in there all day. He needed something to do. So he was trying to give me a ticket. I kind of brushed him off. My friend was irritating the cop, playing all kind of crazy music on the radio and turning it up. And in return, I think my friend kind of pushed the issue to give me the ticket. I kind of, looked at him a certain way, but went on through it. Didn't worry about the ticket. Took the ticket, threw it somewhere, forgot about it. Ended up going out of town for work, and I think it was like 5:30 in the morning. Someone come knocking at the door. I was staying with my grandparents at the time, and they asked for me. And she was like, "Who?" Because I was more or less the good kid. And she was like, "Oh, you talking about the other brother?" Like, nah, him. Like, what do he do? He don't do nothing. Like, well, he got a ticket. And she was like, well, he's not here. He out of town. It was like, well, you got to handle this, so we're gonna be coming back. So she called me later on, and well, I think it was actually within an hour or 30 minutes of them leaving. And she called me, explained what was going on. I sent her the money to go ahead and pay the ticket and stuff because I wasn't gonna be home for another month and a half. So even if that was the case, I went on ahead and handled it. And it's just something like I said, just forgot, didn't, pay no attention to it because I was looking like, man, this is crazy. I ain't paying this ticket. And they got to the point where I actually had to pay the ticket. At the end of the day, we can, excuse me, we can brush off things more or less, but over time, you're gonna have to deal with the issue at hand. And having the conversation, it poses just like with those interventions where you have a lot of people get together and try to help somebody, with the issue at hand. It could be an issue of them acting up. It could be an issue of them on drugs or whatever. But the whole point is to, get people that around the person that technically love them to kind of push them to a point that, help them gain some understanding. Everyone is feeling this way. I did say feel, did I? But everyone is feeling this way. And we want you to understand we're here to help. You know, Technically, sometimes those don't work, those interventions, because a lot of people feel as if they're doing nothing wrong. They don't have an issue at hand. You guys are just coming down on me because you don't like me because I'm perfect. You don't like me because you want me to be like you. And sometimes it takes people actually stepping back to get them to realize their faults. Sometimes it actually take everybody around them to not fool with them. You know, and that's when they start going into that mode. What I was saying about checking yourself, because most of the time when you're alone, that's technically the time when most people are generally in good deep thought. You start having situations to where you want to gather your thoughts together, and some people can't do that. Some people actually need to be around noise. They turn the TV on when they come in the house, you know, and just so many distractions throughout, to the point where how can you really elevate yourself and get find within you if you're not having some type of thought or really conversations with yourself. You know, if the sign of craziness is when you hear the voice and you talk back to it. They say that's the level of crazy, but it's the thoughts that in your head that you want to get out, you want to talk about, but you don't have nobody to talk with them too. So in a sense, you are kind of talking to yourself and kind of patching things up. Like that's one of the big things that a lot of people got to understand when it comes to certain aspects of life. You got to deal with things head on. And a lot of people don't want to deal with things head on due to the fact they want to always be right. They want to always go through life, kind of, featherweight, keeping it keeping it fluff. I don't want to be accountable for stuff. And these days and times, it's more evident that a lot of people just don't want to be accountable for their actions. You know, Going in this space, you got guys don't want to be accountable for their actions when they're dealing with women. We can point the finger at women all day saying that they're the issue, but if you don't hold yourself accountable by saying, I knew I never should have dealt with this woman, or I picked the wrong person because, there you go. Same thing with the women. You know, I was lusting or did this after this man because I came up with these results because, there you go. You know, you got to hold yourself accountable for your actions more or less. And then as you proceed, that's when you start, going through the issues at hand and start dealing with people and have an understanding of, hey, maybe I do need to seek some type of help. Maybe I need counseling, because more people need counseling than ever, you know, through COVID and all this other situation. But mainly because, it's something that really needs to be discussed and really needs to be brought to the forefront, because a lot of people don't see issues about the stuff that goes on. You know, I don't see an issue with me doing what I'm doing, because why? Hey, I'm good. I've always been good. That issue reigns supreme with a lot of people. You know, I got to the point in life where I'm grown. Nobody can tell me what to do. I can move the way I want to move, you know. And even in the sense of growing, you get older. Art and Star had a panel that was pretty good last night, and I'm actually gonna do a video on a screenshot of this. And he was saying that the guys at 40 years old still trying to be an expiring rapper, you should be sitting around listening to jazz. Like, you know, it kills me too about guys who are, you know, I would even say past 30, but I'm just gonna give it a little bump and say 40, 45. You still sagging your pants. I can understand you left your bed at home. I've done that sometimes. I'm sagging, holding my pants up, folding my pants up, get to a point where I can find something to, loop my belt buckles together or something. All right, that's one thing. But to sit there and actually sag your pants at the age you're at, it just shows the level of maturity. You know, I don't see fault in women and, their hair because that's their hair. But to a degree, if you are, getting up in the years, you 45, 50 years old, and you coming out with, all color hairs, you can't get mad. I understand the basic colors. I understand if you want to add a little bit in there, like, a little pink streak or blue streak or something like that. Maybe you can kind of pass that to be more, I guess sexy or something. But wild pink colors and all that, it kind of it kind of puts you in the pocket. It kind of puts you in a situation that where people look at you in a certain light. Same as with those guys who are SAG. They get looked at a certain light. Acting your age, being more mature, growing over time. Some people just don't grow over time, you know, and that holds an issue at hand because if everyone else is growing around you and you're not, it kind of puts you in the point of, everybody's coming down on me. Everybody's shaming me. Everybody's this and everybody's that. But if you really, look at it, it's almost like, why is everybody coming at me? Like I say about that whole issue of checking yourself. A lot of people can't do that. Even with behavior, you get into a point where you start acting out or you start, moving a certain way and you want people to, be cool with the way you're acting. If you're not normally acting like this and it's not for the good, it's for the bad, people are not just going to they're not gonna rock with you. They're not gonna deal with you in this sense. You know, it's to a point where I gotta take on a responsibility of dealing with a grown child. That's almost in a sense like it is. You get to going through things and the pain gets overbearing. But I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to jump off this in a few minutes. But like I said, I just wanted to bring it back to that. Going through some things and having the pain and issues of either people not respecting you or dealing with you because of your stuff, or it could just be you having issues in life that you need someone to talk to. A lot of people need counseling. There's guys and women that just take the burden on their shoulders and don't talk to nobody. And to the point, I mean, I've been to counseling. Even as a grown man, I've been to counseling. Me and my wife have been to counseling. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. You have things going on in your life. Sometimes you need a second opinion. Maybe it is you, or maybe it isn't. But the whole point is, you don't know unless you seek help. Because each and everybody feel like they're right 100% of the time. I didn't do anything wrong in this matter. I don't care. Whoever comes at me, that's them. That's their feelings. That's the way they act. I'm done with it. So it do comes a time when you actually have to, like I said, look at yourself and take some issues to say, well, I need to step back on this because maybe I've been wrong or maybe I've been doing this. A lot of people won't admit that. A lot of people won't, push forward as, you know, I need help. And the ones that do need help sometimes just don't know how to find it. And that's a big issue at hand for you wanting and needing the help and can't get it because why? Where are you gonna get it from? You don't know the first line of defense, in trying to proceed and do things better for yourself. So that poses a big problem within itself. So, just over time, people need to start relaxing, seeking help, talking more, don't be shut off from people too much. That makes issues of a lot of people going through some major issues in their life by not, kind of talking to people and working things out. So issues at hand, discuss them, work with people in and out. You figure it out. But the main thing is seeking some type of help, work for yourself. As it stands, I always, go over the gold P around this time. So I'm finna push over there, kick it over there, see what the professor's talking about, and so forth and so forth. But I'm about to end this, and as I always say, we gone.